Anytime I get ready to do a framing project, I like to lay out my materials in advance. That way I know where everything is and I know what I need. So I like to start with a nice clean surface, which I often cover in some kind of blanket. I have this nice soft fuzzy blanket. This works well. Just gives a little extra protection for the frame so that I don't have to worry about scratching anything as I'm maybe moving it around on the table. Other things that I'm going to need, I always have my trusty drill, making sure my battery is charged before I get to work. I like to use a tape measure and a pencil. This is handy for marking where we're going to install hardware. Then we need the hardware, and that includes offset clips if your canvas extends beyond the depth of the frame, which mine often does, which isn't a problem at all. There are a variety of sizes of offset clips, so you just want to make sure that you get the depth right and choose the right clip for the size you need. In my case, I'm using a 1/4 inch offset clip, and I have 4 of those. Also with those, there are the accompanying screws. I also have 2 D-rings. These are called D-rings because guess what? The end looks kind of like a D. And you screw these on the back and that's what you attach the wire to. So you need 2 of these D-rings along with 2 screws for each one to secure them. We also need some wire. I really like this. This product is called Super Soft Strand. I can put a link down below. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. It's just a product that I really enjoy using because it's nice and coated. Sometimes when I've worked with wire before, it's been a little bit sharp or just difficult on my hands to work with. But this is a nice soft wire that is comfortable to twist and bend. Also, you need some kind of wire cutters so that when you get to the end of that length, you can cut it to size appropriately. And finally, I like to use a set of pliers to just kind of crimp down and make sure that anything I've wrapped around the wire is really secure. Okay, now that we've lined up all our materials and we're ready to secure the canvas in the frame, I'm going to grab the frame and lay it face down on my table. And I'll grab my picture here. I want to pay attention to which end is up. It's super annoying when you've installed all the hardware and your painting is ready to hang upside down. So don't make that mistake. So I'm going to pay attention and realize that this end is up and this end is down. And I'll just fit those in securely, making sure all 4 corners fit nicely. You may notice that I also have a little sticker down here at the bottom. This is just something that I do. As an artist, I do sell my work, and that way my contact information is available right at the bottom of the painting in case anyone ever wants to get in touch with me in the future. So I have that on there. The next step, I'm going to take my tape measure and pencil, and I'm going to measure 7 inches from the top and make a mark. And 7 inches on the top over here and make another mark. And this is where my D-rings are going to go. This is where I'm going to secure those hanging hardware pieces so that I can attach the wire, and that'll be what supports it on the wall. So I'm going to set the D-rings. These are those. I know they may be a little hard to see in the video, but I'm going to position those right at the 7-inch mark. And also there's a little bit of a curvature to the D-ring, so you just want to make sure that the flattest part of that is laying flat against the frame. You don't want it curving up. So I just kind of position those where I had measured. And then I do have a pre-drill bit. I didn't mention that in my supplies, but that is something that I do use. And I'm just going to drill a little bit into each of those holes. It'll just make the screws a little bit easier to secure, and the frame itself will have a little bit less risk of cracking during the drilling process. So I'm going to hold the D-ring in place and then back out, and then the other one, and back out. And then I'll repeat this on the other side. All right, now that we've got those positioned, I'm going to take these offset clips that I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to position those on the side of the canvas. And these you could measure. the purpose is really just to hold the canvas in place. So you just want to kind of be about in the middle of each side, how you position them. And you may notice that one side of the offset clip is longer than the other, so just decide which way makes more sense for your orientation, but be consistent all the way around the canvas the way that you install those. And we're going to pre-drill the holes for the offset clips, just like we did with the D-rings. And the last one. All right, now that we've done that, we're ready to attach the actual screws. And I'll change my bit. Once we have some pre-drilled holes, we're ready to start adding our hardware. And these are offset clips. If you get a good look at those, you might notice that their profile is not straight, but it is offset, hence the name. And these are considered to be 1/4 inch offset clips. They do come in a variety of sizes, and the size references the distance from here to here. It's the change from one level to the other. And so I chose the 1/4 inch offset clips because my canvas, if you can see, it does stick out beyond the edge of the frame by 1/4 inch. And so these are the size that make sense for me. So I have the hole pre-drilled, and you might notice that on the offset clip there is a longer side and a shorter side. Some of them are exactly the same, some of them are a little bit different, like this one is. It doesn't matter which side you position where, just be consistent all the way around the canvas with whatever you choose. For my purposes, I usually like to have the longer side on the frame and then the shorter side against the canvas. I'm not going to screw anything directly into the canvas. I'm just screwing into the frame itself. So I'll grab one of these little screws. Oops. And most of the time the screws come with the offset clips. So that's pretty convenient. So just like that, and it's in there pretty good. And then I'm just going to go all the way around the rest of my frame and add the others. And you can see that holds the canvas in there nice and tight. As I move it, the table jiggles a little bit, but the canvas is secure in that frame. So we're all good. Now we're ready to add the D-rings, and that's what these pieces are. We've got one for each side of the frame, and these are going to be what holds the wire in place. So I'm going to put that down and grab my screw. And these also often come with screws. And since I've pre-drilled the holes, I already know where that's going to go. Then the other D-ring, I've already set in place here. And this was at our 7-inch mark from the top of the frame, the mark that I measured and drew with the pencil when we were very first getting started. Then we're going to take this piece of wire, and this is that super strand stuff that I use. It is a vinyl coated stainless steel utility wire. This is the number 5 size, made in the USA, so that's a bonus. I'll start over here so you can see a little bit better. So I leave just about 4 inches out maybe and cross it over, and kind of like I'm tying a knot, just go back through there. And then I'm just going to wrap around, and slide it down. So I'm trying to keep my wraparounds pretty tight. So you can see I'm getting a nice tight row of coils. And that last little piece is sharp. I'm going to cut it. And then I like to take my pliers here and just kind of give a little squeeze on the end a few different ways, just to make sure that that coil isn't sharp. I'm going to cut anyone. Then to determine how much pulls out from the other side, I'm going to kind of do a rough measure. I know I'm going to want my hanging hardware right about here on the wall, so that's going to tell me that we need about that much to connect to the other D-ring. And I'm going to do the exact same thing over here that I did on the other side. I coil it through, and then I'm just going to go around and around. And then we can crimp it closed on the ends. We are wired and ready to display. And there it is, hanging on the wall.